So this was something that was trending on social media earlier in the day. Apparently, a new Call of Duty movie has been announced. It's set to be released on June 30th, 2028. It's supposed to be a live action film based off of the series. And I'm not exactly sure whether or not it's going to be a loose adaptation or if it's going to directly follow a particular game. But it's something that a lot of people have been talking about, and it's something that I feel like should have happened a long, long time ago because it seems like the popularity of the Call of Duty franchise has dwindled a lot since I don't know, since the teens decade, the last like decent Call of Duty game that people or last like really successful Call of Duty game that came out was like back in 2019 and and that was a game that sold like you know I think at least 30 million copies worldwide. And then you had a couple of games after that, Warzone, Vanguard, games that diehard fans of the Call of Duty franchise like. But I feel like the last couple of entries that we got, specifically the last three entries, have been pretty weak. Not so much Black Ops 6, but people completely trash Black Ops 7, and the Modern Warfare 3 game from 2023 was something that got panned, and it's still considered the lowest rated Call of Duty video game of all time. And I don't know, I feel like if this movie came out like sometime during the teens decade or even like a couple of years ago, it'd probably be a bigger deal because I feel like for the longest time, the Call of Duty franchise has been coasting off its name. And don't get me wrong, Call of Duty is one of the biggest IPs in the gaming franchise. But but yeah, like more people are talking about Battlefield right now as a shooter franchise right now than they are Call of Duty because of how disappointing Black Ops 7 was. Now, as far as the film is concerned, um, it's supposed to be a live action movie that's in development with Paramount Pictures, and it's a partnership with Activision. And we have no idea what the budget is, but a lot of people are projecting that it's going to be over like $200 million, and it's going to be directed by Peter Berg. And yeah, like I honestly feel like this is something that can help renew interest in the series if this film is loosely based off of one of the older Call of Duty games because a lot of people like the older stuff from like the late 2000s and even like the earlier Black Ops games. And I don't know, I just feel like Call of Duty for the most part as far as like video games are concerned, um the IP hasn't been the same ever since Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard because it seemed like they can't really put out a game that truly satisfies like fans or anything like that. Not to mention, Activision have done things in the past to kind of piss off their fan base, alienating them in the process, which is something that's had a negative reflection on the sales. And and I'm not exactly sure how long this was in the works because I remember like a couple of months ago, the co-creator of the franchise, Vincent Pella, he had died in like I think he had died in a car crash back in LA. I saw the video, it was absolutely brutal, and I'm not exactly sure whether or not like he knew this was going to be a thing or anything if before he had died, but I don't know. I still feel like this is something that is long overdue. I feel like Call of Duty should have gotten its own film a very long time ago. Um, Most likely, it's going to be an R-rated movie. That's just my personal opinion. I can't picture this being PG-13 because if it's PG-13, it's obviously not going to be as good because Call of Duty is known for its blood, gore, violence, brutality, reality, all that other stuff, and I honestly feel like that's something that shouldn't be hard to, um, I guess, create on the big screen, but, Hollywood tends to ruin a lot of things, but as far as video game films are concerned, or video game related films are concerned, I feel like the last couple of films we have seen within the last couple of years have been pretty decent. Look at the Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy, look at the last 2, Mario Brothers movies. The first Mario Brothers movie from 2023 was good. The second one, a lot of people didn't like it. I saw the second one, wasn't really as bad as people made it out to be. It was still fun to watch. But yeah, video game movies and films are really big right now. And I honestly feel like Activision is trying to capitalize off of that. And I do feel like the success or lack thereof of this upcoming Call of Duty film will play a significant role on whether or not people have their interest renewed in the IP and in the franchise, because I honestly feel like they haven't been doing too well in relation to games. I'm not sure if people are even interested in the Black Ops series anymore. They should probably take a step back from that. They should probably go back to their roots and maybe remake some of the older games that people are fans of, because people like to mod older games and stuff like that. And Activision shutting down mod projects and pissing them off is really not doing them any favors. In fact, it's costing them money. And I guess for the most part, when it came to like video games, they just refused to give the fans what they wanted. And Black Ops 7 seemed like it was just, I don't know, it looked like AI slopped. A lot of people hated it because it was woke and all that stuff. Um, I'm not exactly sure whether or not this film is gonna end up being woke, and if so, a lot of people are gonna complain about it, and there's gonna be backlash and all of that, but we'll just have to wait and see, because, we got almost 3 years until that, film is going to be released, or less than 3 years before that film is going to be released. Hopefully, it doesn't get pushed back or anything like that, and, I do feel like this film has a lot of potential. Um, you know, hopefully, um, hopefully they take one of the older like video games and do a loose adaptation that actually works, and it connects with fans along with casuals as well. But I know that's something that's really hard to do in relation to Hollywood produced films. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what the film looks like when it comes out in a couple of years.